Hey everyone, during this video I'm going to talk about how I keep myself focused. Let's talk about habits, refinements, adjustments to make sure that you can have an overall complete and fulfilling day. Firstly, as far as how I recommend that you start your days by starting off with a morning routine. For me, what that looks like is there's several things which I do. I get in a meditation session firstly. If you can meditate without sound, great. If you prefer guided meditations, that's also great. What I would recommend you do is purchase like a pair of noise canceling headphones. Most people are in an area where it's fairly noise polluted. Noise pollution meaning you can hear traffic, you can hear airplane noise. If you're in a building, you can hear dogs barking. And these can really do a good job. This just to block out all that noise and come from a place of mindfulness and really like listen to that inner voice. So morning meditation, I highly recommend it. After my morning meditation exercise, what I do is I go through a 10-10, which for me, it encompasses 10 gratitudes, 10 things I'm grateful for. I'm grateful that I'm alive today. I'm grateful for all the opportunities ahead of me. So my 10 gratitudes and then 10 intentions for the day. Me, I'm personally in sales, so my intention could be, for example, to set 2 qualified appointments today, or to call X many clients per day. A tool you may find helpful is this is something I picked up from Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Workweek. And what it is, it's a little journal. It's called the 5-Minute Journal. And you basically fill in 1 page every single day. It's really neat, really nicely organized. And it goes over 3 things you're grateful for, what 3 things would make today great. You have a daily affirmations like I am. For example, I am improving my health and energy every single day. And then at the end of the day, just to reflect back, you write down 3 amazing things which happened, and then you write down, how could I have made today better? That is a very empowering question. Asking yourself that at the end of every day, how could I have made today better? It'll answer questions and it'll help you just make your next day better and more fulfilling. Besides that, I exercise pretty much every day. I'm either doing aerobic activity like cardiovascular exercise or I'm doing weight training. They both do serve different purposes and I highly recommend that you do build both into your routine. Cardiovascular exercise is going to help you as far as like your heart health. It's going to help you just with endurance and overall energy levels. And most of the research pertaining to cognitive function shows that cardiovascular exercise actually does a better job with improving things like memory, general cognition, your ability to solve complex problems, more so than weight training. However, weight training is going to do other things. It's going to improve your insulin sensitivity. It's going to raise muscle protein synthesis, which is just going to naturally make you facilitate your body to build more muscle. And it's going to help you with hormones, things like testosterone, even thyroid to some extent. So I highly recommend that you get in some sort of routine as far as exercise and really just will help you have a very optimistic day. When you think about it, it's like getting through a hard workout in the beginning of the day makes you feel like, okay, if I could handle that, I can handle anything. It's a very optimistic, great way to start your day. Thereafterwards, it's going to depend what type of industry you're in. Like if you're studying, then you're already aware that the majority of your time should be spent studying. So then it's just a matter of what are some of the things that you should not focus on. The problem people have with focusing is that there's too many distractions. So what I'd recommend that you do is you list out all the possible distractions. There could be negative people, toxic people in your life. Eliminate them, even if they're family, because these are your goals, these are your aspirations. What I'd recommend you do is list all the possible distractions. For you, it may be something like social media or your cell phone popping off with alerts, notifications. The airplane mode on your phone is a very good tool. Me personally, what I do in my workday just to stay really focused and really engaged is I'm only checking text messages maybe 3 to 4 times per day. In the evening, obviously, it's a bit spontaneous and you want to enjoy yourself. However, that is a very big distraction. There's a lot of studies showing that it can take up to like 6 to 10 minutes to get like back on track. So being disciplined is actually going to give you more freedom in your life. You can work less hours because you're naturally just more effective and you have more time off. So it's great. It's one of those things, just discipline and really being involved and engaged and excited about the big picture and where the discipline is going to lead to. Otherwise, what's really important is breaks. And this is primarily a nootropics channel, which is what I'll talk about. For your breaks, you will learn what's best for you as far as your stack is concerned. For me, there's some things which I absolutely cannot live without now that I've tried them, been on them and off of them. For me, it's the racetams. I really like Noopept for focus, and I like the adaptogens to help me fight stress. So Bacopa, ashwagandha, and rhodiola. I love these 3. Alongside that, lion's mane is also a very good tool just to help you stay in a really powerful, optimistic state. There's a lot of evidence showing that lion's mane, a nootropic that you can use for durations of time when you're involved in very productive work or you're just stretching yourself as far as hours spent on a project or just cognitive resources spent. So if you're somebody that has a deadline and you're in that state of overwork, lion's mane, I'd highly recommend it. Experiment, find out really what's best for you, but obviously proper nutrition and adequate water intake is a must. I'm personally drinking about a gallon of water per day, maybe a gallon and a half. And that's a lot easier when you're in the gym for about an hour because you're sipping through it the whole time, just staying hydrated, staying very energetic. Breaks is a lot of interesting tools you can use. Again, find what works best for you. Me personally, I benefit a lot from like a 20-minute nap or a 20-minute meditation session or walking my dog and going through a park. There's actually, you won't believe, there's scientific research showing that being around nature, being around trees and disengaging from technology actually helps you be in a more creative state to really come back to work and be able to solve things and just with a very different perspective. There's some good books on this. You can read a book I highly recommend called When by Daniel Pink. And during that book, he essentially he cites a lot of good studies which do show the benefits of breaks, where you should incorporate them. And I really clearly remember that he said, if you're somebody that works very long hours, 12 to 14 hours, you would really, really benefit from like a 1 hour kind of deload, kind of just off work completely right smack in the middle of the day. Highly recommend it. Again, find out what works for you. But the key really is to understand that during that break, you're doing the opposite of your work. So essentially anything that relates to work in any sort of way, you are doing the pretty much opposite, right? So maybe if you're somebody that's behind a computer and you're just typing stuff all day, you may benefit by going out, maybe just talking to your neighbors, having a conversation and turning all your technology off. Again, I would highly, highly recommend it. For me, I typically need a break for maybe 15 to 20 minutes after about 2 to 3 hours of good solid work, and it really helps me a lot. The worst thing is sometimes my ego can convince me to just pile through the whole day and get my work done and just leave the breaks until after work, but that always sets me up for productivity. And if you're somebody that really cannot afford to make a mistake for your work, then this just makes it more so important. The great thing about breaks is once you finish your day, you really don't feel tired. Like I'm shooting this video at the end of the day, I don't necessarily feel fatigued, I don't feel drained, I'm still optimistic about the following day. But I can go back to other periods of my life when I would just pile the work through the day without the breaks. At the end of the day, I wasn't fulfilled, I was dreading the next day, and I just came from a place of exhausted to the point I couldn't even really have a conversation with somebody. I was so fatigued, like my memory recall was bad. There's a lot to be said to that, but it's important just to have something to look forward to at the end of the day. Some people leave like their biggest meal to the end of the day because they're typically hungriest then, and that works well for me too. Spend the remainder of your time because the evening is the time when generally most people have the least willpower. I recommend a book called The Willpower Instinct. Highly recommend it. It was a great book. And what it just naturally showed was that your willpower just drains and drains and drains throughout the day. But if you take these breaks, if you really tweak that and you make the adjustments, you can keep your willpower high the whole day. And then at the end of the day, you come from like a good space of knowing what to do, the right decisions to make, and having the courage to choose them. So if you're somebody that, for example, knows like they should be reading in the evening or they should be doing something, but they're indulging in sports or entertainment or YouTube instead, that's really powerful. Just take your breaks, monitor your willpower, and get those check-ins. Make sure you nail like your nutrition, right? Your water intake, the nootropics, and just constantly feeding yourself really good thoughts. There's so much negativity out there, especially with the news and the TV and everyone in your surrounding area. I'm a believer that for every negative thought that I encounter, I have to replace it with 2 positive thoughts. So you gotta keep on refilling that positive fuel tank. Guys, hope that was helpful. That's again what helped me stay focused. I hope it helps you too. Stay focused, stay productive. It's Mike. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll look forward to seeing you all next time.